Okay. Um, hi, Dr. Huda. A very good evening to you. We three today going to present regarding global waste management, assessing its impact on the ecosystem. First of all, let me introduce ourselves. Myself is Tiru, and this is Niva, and in front of me is Krish. All right. So, this presentation is for applied statistics, our subject. Let me go to the next slide. All right. Let me give you a little bit introduction of what we are gonna venturing about. First of all, unarguably, industry diversification has increased the waste complexity. Right. Human activity inevitably produces waste with both volume and complexity increasing due to the economic growth and higher living standard. Growth in industries and healthcare has led more hazardous industrial and biomedical waste. Okay. And then moving forward to another point for introduction is illegal waste dumping, where illegal waste dumping contributes to higher health risk and marine pollution, where it threatens our health as well as the ecosystem together living together with us. Major sources include industrial and consumer packaging with significant differences in usage across the regions. Plastical waste nowadays it's very notably hard to manage, especially in major developed countries, actually, United States, India, and China. But we will go through in depth with the techniques later. And more to introduce regarding the global pollution or global waste management is on low recycling rates, where globally recycling rates are low and underlying the necessity of enhancing waste management infrastructure. This report evaluates the global practices in recycling and identifying successful initiatives and areas needing improvement. Why today we are discussing about this topic actually about global management and global waste management those stuff because awareness meaning we can say a lot of parties involved, but here I would like to focus about public awareness in waste management, doctor. We will need to increase the awareness regarding waste management about the critical need for the better management in avoiding ecological damage. We also would like to provide actionable insight and strategies to improve waste management, to increase the recycling rates, to reduce the environmental harm from mismanaged waste, and of course, this is to motivate public to take informed and decisive action to address the water crisis and protect our whole global ecosystem that we are living in. Moving to the next slide. Right. These are the objectives that we have established for this assignment. First of all, is to identify the waste contributors by country, continents using descriptive statistics, to analyze and compare waste management strategies in global context, and yes, of course, to leverage the statistical inference to uncover patterns, correlation, and predictive insights for possible solutions. Next slide. And here, where we got our data for our topic today, the data sources, main data set has been absorbed from Kaggle, obtained from Kaggle, and we also obtained several additional data from Britannia Encyclopedia as well as, if I'm not mistaken, World Bank. Right. So we had done data preparation, data we have done data cleaning, and we had merged the data that we obtained from few data sources, and of course we have during our cleansing we have ensured our consistency. These are the variables that included. Um, Country, total plastic waste, mean sources, recycling rate, per capita waste, coastal waste risk is obtained from Kaggle dataset. And here where we had used what they call Britannia Encyclopedia to what they call to identify the country based on the continent and country type on the status of we have split it to three country type: developed, developing, and underdeveloped. And the category, the classification has been obtained from World Bank, right? So I would like to pass the floor to Niva Shini. Here you go, Niva.
Can you minimize the screen? Yeah, just minimize. Thank you. So moving into our very first objective, which is to identify the waste contributors by country and continents using descriptive statistics and also the visualization dashboard. Here you would be looking at the dashboard first to highlight the world map where we have 6 continents based on the data that we have extracted. I have also filtered or provided a clustered bar chart to identify the continents and the country's status, along with the number of countries in each continent as well. On top of that, I have also included waste source type to provide the insight on what are the waste sources that is being contributed by the countries from all over the world. If we look at the next chart right beside, which says per capita waste kg by continent, we could imply that Europe leads with the highest per capita waste, which is about 11,000 kg. And looking at the remaining continents, adding all of them wouldn't even come close to quarter of what Europe has contributed. Also, to highlight whether it's developed country or developing country, it has no relation with per capita waste that is being contributed by continent level. Next, looking at the recycling rate as well, regardless of which continents or the status of the country itself, it does not have any relationship with how the awareness in terms of recycling rate has expanded all over the world. Here we could see that the main source of waste is dominated by industrial and consumer packaging, and the significant waste generation is from US, India, and China. Next, moving on to descriptive statistics, which we have used SPSS to provide the insight. Here we have 3 contributing factor, which is total plastic waste, per capita waste in kilogram, and also the recycling rate to identify whether the exposure is visible or not. For the first one, plastic waste. If we look at the median, the value is 0.51 metric ton, indicating half of the countries produce less than 0.51 metric ton of plastic waste. However, looking at the range, the minimum value is at 0.01 and the maximum is at 1564.4 kg, which has a massive difference, which indicates the countries that are very cautious in terms of contributing to plastic waste. And there are countries who are significantly contributing to plastic waste. Next would be recycling rate. If we look at the average recycling rate, it's at 13.96%. However, looking at the range, the minimum could be 0.1%, while the maximum is 84.8%. Per capita waste by kg would be, the median is 54.9 kg, indicating half of the countries have a per capita waste of below 54.9 kg. And the range if we are looking at similar to what we have for total plastic waste, the difference is tremendous. And all these three types that we have tested shows doesn't show a normal distribution, and we do have outliers. And so that would be for our first objective. Moving into our second objective, which is to analyze and compare waste management strategies in global context. What you are looking at is basically the recycling rate. Why? Is because the strategies would only be able to be provided by leading countries that is showing example in terms of recycling. And looking at the chart, you would be able to derive to a conclusion that, oh, Europe is the highest contributor in terms of recycling rate. However, at the bottom of the chart, if you look at the top three countries that are recycling, that is showing the highest recycling rate compared to all the other countries from all over the world, regardless of its country status, shows they are from Asia. And which country leads them would be Japan by recycling 84.8% from its total waste produced. Therefore, we can conclude that the countries that are contributing to recycling rate is being aware of the consequences and is looking way ahead in terms of the future of the next generation. Next, this waste management strategies has been filtered and brought into the picture to provide a better insight on what Japan has in terms of its success story, that it could lead the recycling rate by competing with all over the world at the rate of 84%. First, if you look at Kamikatsu program, it's a community waste sorting waste into multiple categories, and you would be shocked to hear that they have 45 different categories that they sort their waste into. Next would be plastic recycling. They have advanced technology sorting and recycling plastics. Next would be their eco-town projects, where public and private partnership in waste management is brought into picture. Next would be recycling tote bags. Residents use tote bags to go to market where they could use it when they buy their produce, or anywhere else where they require to have purchases. This is so they could avoid plastic bags. Next is pay by the bag. This is something new and probably is working out for Japan at its best course, where residents would be actually paying for the amount of waste that they have collected for the garbage collector, which means the end products of your food would require a weighing scale to ensure how much you are paying to the garbage collector before it could be collected for recycling. And therefore, I conclude my second objective, which indicates that these are the strategies that could be implemented to the countries all over the world, depending if they would require to tweak a little bit to fit into the country's policies. And next, I would be passing to Krish for the third objective.
So for third objective, we're going to leverage the statistical inference to adopt patterns, correlation, and predictive insights for possible solution. But a little minor twist is we're not going to do any predictive insight. It's because the data is only that we have is only for the year 2024, and we don't have time series to uncover any kind of predictive insights. So with that, we can actually see the Kolmogorov-Smirnov test normality for the what we call test, which is actually being done. Next slide, please. All right, thank you. So based on the test result, we can see both recycling rate and the per capita waste kg are not normally distributed, which is the p value is less than 0.001. So, and the visual confirmation also confirms that the histogram and the QQ plots show significant skewness and deviations, with the implication of non-parametric statistical method are appropriate for the analysis to ensure validity of result despite the data distribution. Next slide, please. So with that, we conduct a Mann-Whitney U test, which shows the developed countries have significantly higher per capita waste than the developing countries, which means the z value is equals to negative 5.0901, which the p is actually again lower than 0.01. The mean ranks for the developed countries is actually 114.16. Sorry, 114.16 kilogram, and for the developing countries is 64.17. With that, we can actually conclude that the developed nations produce more waste per capita compared to the developing countries, which highlights the need for sustainable consumption practices. With that, we have actually also done Spearman's rank correlation coefficient, which shows our value is 0.641, which means the P is again what you call indicates a moderately strong positive relationship, which we can interpret as recycling rate increases and the per capita waste generation also tend to rise, which suggests that countries generating more waste per person often have a robust recycling system, which gives us the possible explanation where industrial nations produce more waste but invest in recycling. So higher recycling rates may be a response to a higher waste generation. Next slide. So with this, we have actually provided some of the recommendation, which comes up to awareness campaign, policy development, infrastructure investment, and strategy adoption. So with awareness campaign, what we can do is to implement global education campaigns on waste reduction and recycling. We can see an example with Japan's initiative as a benchmark. Whoa, they have 45 categories for a recycling. So I think half of that, we are not even reaching, I would say, a quarter. Quite shocking. So with again, yeah, with infrastructure investment, we should actually strengthen the infrastructure, invest in recycling facilities, waste management systems, especially in rural, low-performing regions, and also encourage technology sharing and international cooperation. Not just like look for Japan for technology, but we should also look into them on how they actually can recycle ample of things which we would actually produce as waste. And also, when we look in policy development, we should create more regulation and incentives to reduce waste generation, promote sustainable packaging, industrial packaging. Not that we should, since our government actually implemented on, no plastic bags to be used when we purchase for groceries. But yet, sadly, to see that we still would actually purchase plastics instead of carrying our own bags for grocery system. The next point, which we should actually on strategy adoption. So we should actually emulate programs like Japan's Zero Waste Initiative and Eco-Town projects, tailor strategies to fit local context and needs. Not only that we should actually implement on zero waste, we should look into like things like some of the general waste, if it can contribute or if it could be transformed into fertilizers, for an example. It should be a very, very good initiative to sustain our ecosystem for the next and upcoming generations. Next and last slide. With this, we can actually conclude that comprehensive waste management strategy should have a future outlook, call for action, and yeah, with that we should and what do you call waste with that we can actually say that um, future outlook such as sustainable waste management is crucial for preserving ecosystem and human health. Call for action, collective efforts required from government, industries, and the public. Not only the government, but especially on the public. Not that we just, throw garbage as garbage, but we should actually segregate them according to their recycling rate, if it can be recycled, and embrace sustainable practices to mitigate environmental impact. When the government says, please do not use single use plastic, please, if you can, try to mitigate that, try to follow and adhere to that. Bring your own bags, if can, something which eco-friendly. So key takeaways that we should look into the project is urgent need for comprehensive waste management strategies, importance of addressing waste generation and recycling simultaneously. Again, we should take Japan not just for the technology, but also in their recycling rate, everything. I guess some of us, even in terms of a battery, when it says it shouldn't be disposed in a normal garbage, we still would dispose that, which addresses to the issue linking to hazardous goods and hazardous waste management. As a summary, waste generation is escalating globally, linked to economic growth and consumption patterns, with significant positive correlation between waste generation and recycling rates. With that, we conclude our report, and thank you from the whole team. Right? Yay.